So now we're going to use that square root property that we learned about in the last video. Now you might be saying, well, why? Why can't I just do what I was doing in the past? Just factor the equation and get the solutions that way. And sometimes you can. If it factors, great. Do the factoring process, because that's usually the easiest method, for me anyway. But not everything always factors. So like here in example 1, we have x squared minus 48. And that just, it doesn't factor. 48's not a perfect square, and so you're kind of stuck. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the square root property. So we're not stuck. We have another method. So the thing to do is to get the x squared part by itself. So you want to get that 48 on the other side, which is, you know, kind of the opposite of what we were doing before with factoring, right? Before we were setting things to 0. Now we're not. We're trying to get the x squared part by itself. Then I'm going to apply the square root. So I usually just, let me rewrite it. I usually just put the square root symbol on both sides, and then I have to tell myself, don't forget the plus or minus. Okay, so that's really important to remember the plus or minus. Okay, on the left-hand side, when you take the square root of x squared, that's just x. And then on the right-hand side, you have plus or minus the square root of 48. Well, you're going to have to simplify that. So 48 is 16 times 3, so you get plus or minus the 16, you're going to take the square root of that, which is 4, and then you're going to have the times the square root of 3. So it would look like that. You have to be really careful where you put that plus or minus symbol. In this case, it's going in front of the 4. Okay, so when you take the 16 out, it goes right in front of the radical. So if they want the answers listed separately, they can list them as the opposite of 4 square root 3 and 4 square root 3. If they don't care if you use the plus or minus, then that's fine. I don't remember in WebAssign. I think they want you to list them separately, though. But, okay. So now here's another example. Well, we have the x squared, but the problem is in this one, we have a 2 in front of the x squared. So you've got 2x squared equals 98. What you want to do is you want to first divide by 2. You want to get the squared part by itself. So those 2's cancel, and you get x squared equals 49. Now you can take the square root of both sides. And a lot of times I don't recopy it. I just put the square root symbol on, but I want you to be able to see the steps. So, okay, so I put the square root symbol on. Sometimes we say we take the square root of both sides. We're using that square root property. Okay, and then that gives us this statement, x equals plus or minus. Well, the square root of 49 we know is 7. So you could list your solutions as -7 and 7. They usually put the smaller solution first, so that's why I put the -7 first. Okay, there you go.